Hello and welcome back to what we've been watching with Andrew and Nathaniel, where today we're going to be looking at episodes 3 and 4 of The War Between the Land and Sea, the Doctor Who spin-off currently showing on BBC iPlayer. You have watched them, haven't you, Nathaniel?
I have watched them, yes.
Yeah, that's because that's the basic prerequisite for
It
this
is.
episode,
I
isn't
was at one point considering just doing a make it up as I go,
Yeah.
based on what you say.
But that would only last for so long, wouldn't it, I guess?
There comes a certain point where I'm like, I have to watch.
Yeah, and I bet you're glad you did, because there's a lot to discuss in the last two episodes versus the first two that we've seen. But it's got to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't watched it, go away, watch it now, because we will be getting into the weeds a little bit with these two episodes. But let's start with episode 1, which I've got a little blurb written down here. Episode 3. Episode 3, The Deep. We pick up with Barclay when he descends 500 miles beneath the ocean to meet Sult and the Homo Aqua on their home turf. Meanwhile, Kate faces growing isolation on land as Downing Street conspires with the army and its corporate interests. What did you think of this episode? We'll begin with the negatives and then we'll move on to the positives after. So take it away, mate.
Overall, I thought this episode was very strong, but I do say that with the caveat of it's stronger than all the recent Doctor Who we've had. So if we are going to start with negatives, I will say Kate, Lethbridge-Stewart and Colonel Ibrahim's relationship. Who cares? In episode 3, they really focusing on that to try and make the audience feel something. And to me, I don't care about that relationship. I like Kate Lethbridge-Stewart. I don't care about Colonel Ibrahim.
Yeah, well, it's one of those, it's a bit of a trope, isn't it, at this point, you know, and then all of a sudden in a series or something, they focus, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but they take two characters that spend an awful lot of time together and a lot of screen time spent on them, and it usually foreshadows the fact that, like you've just said, the creators are trying to make you feel, they're trying to make a constructed relationship happen. So when it eventually ends the way it did with Kate and Colonel Handsome, or whatever they used to call him, it feels earned. But I agree with you. It's one of my negatives as well, I think. The fact that they could have focused on this relationship from episode 1, and they could have fed us little bits of their relationship. I still probably wouldn't have cared as much, but it would have felt a little more of a payoff when what happens eventually happens.
Sort of the thing with their relationship is it's one of the reasons that this very much is a spin-off, because their relationship is not very well. I'll emphasize that it's not done well, but it is kind of set up in Doctor Who. You see them sort of holding hands in the finale with Sutek. You see a wee bit of that again in the last season. So it's set up there, not very well. It's like they're trying to do, if you ever watch Torchwood Children of Earth, Jack and Yanto, they kind of play it the same way with the boss, the one beneath him. I don't know how their relationship was working beneath him.
If I had to guess, I'd say Jack was definitely he was a top and Yanto would be a bottom.
Or I think they were both switches.
Yeah, they could have, but I don't know. I still think Jack would want to be on top, and if that's the biggest takeaway from this review, then let us know what you think in the comment section below. Top or bottom? How's that relationship working?
We'll put a poll then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did not buy into the relationship. I thought it would have worked better if it was just because of everything they've been through together at Unit in the past 2 seasons of Doctor Who, and even this big thing, if it was just a close friendship between her being the top dog and him almost being not quite a second in command, but like very high up in it, just for them to have that close relationship as opposed to making it romantic.
Or even if...
That's the bit that loses me, where they're together in secret.
I agree. What if they were close friends and he just so happened to go over to hers, etc., to see her. He knew she was stressed. It still could have played out the same way. They could have even implied that it could have become romantic in a weird way that would have been sadder if it was he rocked up at the door and says, I'm really sorry, everything's on your shoulders, etc., and then they could have almost kissed for the first. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No,
you didn't
I completely
need to
agree.
give us the whole.
I think it works better if instead of being this undercooked, they love each other thing, where it's just burgeoning. The idea is starting to creep up that, we maybe could, but that gets snatched away from them. That choice of we could maybe try something gets taken away from them.
And then
because
it hits
spoilers,
harder.
Ibrahim does die. we sort of been skirting around it, but that is the big end of episode 3. There's a bullet aimed at Kate. Ibrahim saves her. I don't think it's confirmed in episode 3 that he's dead. I think it's in the 4.
Yeah, I think it's left open enough that you might presume it could go either way.
It's the cliffhanger at the very least.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if it was like virgining romance, or then, as you say, it could hit home even more what Kate has lost, and it could also play more on the fact she hasn't got time for her own life. That's why they never got together, because she simply doesn't know how to switch off, etc. So it could have been a nice little.
I'm not sure. This might have been in episode 4. If it was, it's not a big spoiler for it, but they make reference to Kate's daughter at one point, which I feel is so rarely referenced. She does have kids, and
she's in Dubai.
And she says she's in Dubai. Like, what if they had just had her there for the first 3 episodes, and she was the one who got offed because of Kate's work?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a huge negative. I think it reeks of them needing something emotional happen to push Kate's story. And it felt a little undercooked and probably constructed just for the purpose of creating that scenario. So I do agree with you there. Would you like to know one of my big negatives? And you, point of context, when we was both watching it separately, but at the same time, Nathaniel said, I already know one of your negatives, and this was quite early on in the episode. I don't know what he was referring to, and I'm probably way off base, but I'll throw one out there, unless you want to tell me what you think my negative was.
Can I tell you what I think your negative was? And we can either discuss that after your actual negative, or we can do whatever. I think your negative was the Homo Aqua home turf, their civilization.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
As soon as it was on screen, I actually have a fun fact about that. Just
go on.
Apparently, the set for their underwater bit was a repainted, the bone temple that the Rani was in the season 2 finale. Apparently, it was repainted that. Okay. I've heard that was revealed at the premiere of the episode. That's just a wee fun tidbit. Talk to me about the design.
That might make me dislike it more. It's not even the design. I think it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look that bad. I think what they do with the set to extend it with sort of CG, the biofluorescent lights, etc. I think it wasn't terrible. My biggest gripe was we're going under the ocean to an underwater world, only to find out that we're not. We're going under the ocean to a dry bit of
bubble
bed bottom, to a bubble essentially. And the one thing I said to you was at the end of the last review we did, I was looking forward to seeing how they could flesh out Homo Aqua's world, and I was looking forward to see the production design and how they treated the CGI with our human characters interacting with the water elements. These call me crazy, but I want to see the aqua people having a swim about in water. I don't think that's a lot to ask, is it? Maybe my expectations were far higher than they should ever have been, I guess. But it was a negative for me.
I would agree to a certain extent with your criticism, but also I think seeing just Homo Aqua swimming about and stuff wouldn't make sense, because if you think about it in the context of when they came up to Liberty House in episode 1 and 2, they didn't get to view the outside world. It was purely, they were just in that bit. It's a political meeting at the end of the day. It's a big, what's the word? It's a big political thing going on. Trying to sum
Yeah, what are you just flapping your hands again? Don't just flap. I will, for the sake of playing devil's advocate, I understand that it could be argued we're meeting the humans halfway. Ordinarily, we wouldn't be doing this here ourselves, but we're trying to accommodate the people who don't live underwater. So I can give it a bit of a bly. All in all, though, despite my criticism about it being too dry, let's say, given the fact it was a repurposed set, etc., I don't think it looked half bad. I really like the costumes that they were wearing as well.
There was an original Sea Devil design very quickly in there, like the original, which I thought was a nice touch to be like, they're still here, guys.
Yeah. Just trying to think if there's any more negatives my end. I don't know if you have any more.
I wanted to see more in episode 3. I wanted to see more fallout from episode 2, the plastic apocalypse. It felt like they just kind of brush on.
Yeah. Well, there was a line from.
There's a line. Clear up is still happening, but I'm going to talk about this more when we get to episode 4.
Okay. Well, I'm happy
it did not feel like that big plastic apocalypse had any impact.
Well, it's kind of validated my negatives about episode 2 in a way.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. do you want to move into positives for this episode then? Because I think I'm done with negatives.
I think so. I think maybe small negative I have is the it was very slow episode 3, I thought. Like it wasn't moving. I would have liked if it was a bit faster. Because it's only a 5-episode season. And yeah, I just think compared to the first 2, it was very slow, and I didn't feel like it was even slow to the point of like building characters that much.
See, I thought pace-wise it was equal to, if not a little quicker than episode 1, in my mind, for some reason.
See, when I think of episode 1, I think of that last, 20 to 15 minutes, which was sort of breakneck speed. They're suddenly on Earth. So, yeah, I'll give you that, actually. Maybe that's more just me overthinking it, thinking about how it is only 5 episodes. Like, if I just looked at it as is, probably was paced quite well. But we can do positives now, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Do you want to go first on this one? What stood out for you? What did you enjoy?
It still looks gorgeous. Like, the show is still directed really well. Aesthetically, this is an incredibly pleasing show.
I could see it on a big screen, I think. I think it would hold up
my
in
mom
the
said
cinema.
the same.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Nathaniel's mom.
She's not caught up. No, it's very cinematic. I think all the technical components, so, your directing, your music.
I love the theme tune, by the way.
Theme tune's really good.
You mentioned it last time, and I didn't really give it, but I do really like the credits. Simple, but the music is the thing that sells it. Even without the visuals, I think it's good.
No, I think it's great. I said to you last night while we were watching it, when they actually do go into war, I was like, you know what? I don't care that they redesigned Sea Devils. I love the redesign of the soldiers, Sea Devils. I think it's a great it's a great modernization.
It's simple.
So I think aesthetically, it's killing it, the show. Like, it's really working so well for it. Anything about aesthetics or any other positives?
I think, well, if we do just focus solely on aesthetics, as I say earlier, I love the design of the suits. I like the fact that you were clearly on location on the ship. A lot of this is on location where they're lowering the submarine. I believed all of that. And I also like this. I know you could argue there was a long time spent on the submarine. Again, I'd probably disagree with you, because I do think it was, given the fact, again, this is a spoiler review, given the fact all of these people die at the end of episode 3, I think that moment of contemplation in the submarine and the fear, I think that was given to us as an audience to get to know those characters as much as we can. Yes, it was a thinly veiled attempt at characterization, but I think, again, they were trying to make us feel for these guys, or at least know who they were in some capacity. So when the episode ended,
I will agree with that I thought everything in the sub on the way down was great. Like, I really liked that, because that is a very scary scenario.
And the anxiety, just listening to the possibility of the whole sort of, just...
In fact, I would have rather we had more time on the sub with them going down, even if it was wee bits about just learning about just people's families and stuff like that, as opposed to cutting to, I really should have said this in the negatives, but the episodes blur together, so I'm kind of like, what bit was this in? As opposed to cutting to the Prime Minister and the evil plans and the American general, which is a poor imitation of Children of Earth, which did the government scheming so well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, every now and then I'm reminded of the constraints of the show, despite how good it looks sometimes, because I think we're seeing this submarine from the inside. We've only seen it just drop, and we see very, very few shots of it actually descending. I just think, if we're in this fantastical world anyway, this submarine still shouldn't exist. There's no submarine, to my knowledge, that can go that far down, right? So if we are being a bit fantastical, why not have, we could have had a window or something in there, and I could have seen. In my mind, it was gonna be a bit more fantastical, and it was gonna be a bit more of an event, them descending. But instead, it was just, it's completely dark now, and our imagination was kind of left as to what was outside. You could argue that did build tension, especially when they were getting pulled down. It did, but again, I think for whatever reason, my expectations of them descending and going into this world was just a little bit more. Saying that, I do like the sort of the anxiousness and the claustrophobia that they tried to bring with that scene. What did you think of Ted and his introduction?
I really liked Ted. I thought That's a good character. I enjoy how at the front he's the one who's keeping everyone upbeat, always trying to be positive. And then as soon as they are in that sub and there's a noise, that just breaks like that. Like he is just granted with what happens later in the episode, I was like, that feels a bit. It's you can justify it, but also
you can justify it by saying we don't know who he is. We don't know his affiliates really. He's just
we don't know his affiliates. We know he has cancer.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I like Russell Tavoy's Tovey. I like Russell
Tavoy.
I like the way he suddenly, again, it reaffirms why he's the right man for the job. The way he realizes, okay, I'm going to have to calm everyone down now. And he ends up calming Ted down and sort of, he just reaffirms his position as this unwilling leader that sometimes he just does. He just does what needs to be done. A big positive as well is his performance for me in this episode.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good.
That moment with his family before he goes. And he's trying to act all cool, and then he was like, I am scared, and we get the tears and stuff. I thought it was...
Yeah, I thought that was well put together. Quite frankly, I thought to myself, give his child a slap, because I just can't stand it when children are sitting going, I'm doing this, Dad, and then runs out of the room. I'm like, come on now. He doesn't have a choice.
But the thing is, that felt against her character for me from what we know of her, because I thought she'd be an advocate somewhat for...
There was a lot of, with the family, these 2 episodes, there was a lot where I was kind of going, oh, we're back with them, which is a shame because I did like them last week.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Barkley as a whole, I did enjoy this episode.
Yeah, no complaints really.
Emphasis on episode 3.
Yeah. Did we want to talk about Salt at all in this episode?
Yeah, well, should we talk about Salt and just the whole ending of episode 3? The cliffhanger?
Yeah. So as I, by the way, as much as it felt like we were flipping and flopping, I did like the fact that, especially in the third act, the pacing and the jeopardy was playing out, almost like for like. I absolutely did not see the end coming. I didn't see the globe being some sort of bomb.
Likewise.
It looked great. Like, it was a great idea. The way it was when it started to separate. I thought, oh, shit. Some of the editing was a bit choppy. Is that just me? I would have liked...
It may have been. I'm not going to comment on that because I can't quite remember how it was edited. Because I did actually, when the whole twist happens with the globe, during real time, I got like a text on my phone, so I glanced at it, read it, and then looked up and thought, what's going on? So I had to go back. I was like, not Ted! Like, I did not see that coming. I am shocked that I didn't even guess that globe or one of them was going to betray them. I was like, no, well, that makes perfect sense.
I wouldn't have called it, but it would make sense to have someone, in retrospectively, it makes sense to just send someone down. I think, in your defense, though, the editing wouldn't have helped because you kept flipping back to Kate and then to this, gift giving, etc. If I could have edited it differently, I think I would have maybe had one happen before the other. I would have still had them running intermittently, but I would have focused on Kate, what happened there. And then
because I thought it works well, like, for that last minute or so where the Barkley grabs him, the globe falls. Is that the bit you're talking about, or are you talking about the actual build-up to the globe falling?
I think even the build-up, like, it works. It's coherent. I sound like I'm contradicting myself, and I don't think I know what I want because I like the fact these two events are happening at the same time. But I think we sacrificed a lot of the impact of the betrayal when it's edited in that way. In my opinion, it was just a little bit. I kind of wanted to just focus more on what was going on down there at that point instead of flipping back and forth. But all in all, I think the third act and the end was very good. I'll remark to you, I sent you a message saying I couldn't wait for the next episode, which is obviously...
I was so glad that there was a second one to watch straight after. I will say, also, I do quite like how those characters who went down, there was no ceremony for them being killed, it just happens. I enjoy that aspect, like General Pierce, who I thought was quite good in this episode.
He was better, I was going to say.
He had a few wee moments where I was like, that's quite nice, because he's not just this stern general who it's job. You can tell he does care. And I enjoyed him.
His line and delivery came across naturalistic and organic for a change, so he was just...
Can everyone just shut up?
I mean, not when you do it, but it was a lot less robotic and I think performative than episode 1 and 2 to me. Because I think the reason I'm saying that is because I didn't say it was a negative. So yeah. And he was an it was good having him in there because he's not just an established character for the series, but he's been around in Who for a while. So to commit to killing, well, I think it was good. It was a ballsy move to commit to killing all of them. It's shown us some.
Yeah, but if he's ever in Doctor Who again, the actor can not go under the water because he was in a Peter Capaldi episode where he died under the water as well.
Did he?
Different character. Under the lake before the flood. That two-parter in series 9.
I remember. Yeah.
And he was also in the established General Pierce was in Children of Earth. But just remember, Andrew, as a wise man once said, we can be heroes.
You do a fantastic General Pierce.
Do I?
You really do.
Thank you.
Really, really do.
I appreciate that.
Shall we round off? Ending? Yeah, shall we round off episode 3? I think it was a very strong episode. I will agree, pacing wise, maybe it could have been a little sped up.
Just at moments.
Yeah. I think, and yes, the intersplicing with shady espionage and the Severance, which clearly and they're basically trying to remove UNIT from the equation and have the Prime Minister, agree with the rest of the heads of state, aren't they, and follow their own course to solve the problem.
I think it would be more interesting if, as opposed to them just kicking Kate out, if they ousted Kate from UNIT and put someone else in charge. Suddenly it's like, oh, God, we can't even go to UNIT now. Instead of making them these heroes constantly, I think we need to have some black and bit of grey with UNIT at times.
Yeah, I agree.
I think my overall thoughts on episode 3 were, I enjoyed it while I was watching it. Like, I thought this was really good. Then, as I think about it, I don't think it's as good as last week. It is still very good. It's better than any Who we've had in recent years. But compared to last week's first 2 episodes, that even now I'm like, well, they were really good.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think retroactively, I would agree with you. I think I had major expectations for it anyway, so it was probably never gonna meet what I was imagining. But still not bad. Yeah. Still, as you say, better than any recent Who, and not a major dip in quality. But let's move on to episode 4, The Witch of the Waterfall. Barclay and Salt go on the run in a war-torn London after a disastrous incident, the end of episode 3, as tide threatens the land and Gunsberg advances his bloody severance schemes. So let's break all this down, because this episode is the one that I envisaged talking about more than any of the 2, because there is so much going on, which is interesting because we've been talking about pace, because it felt like episode 4 came at just so much speed for me.
Yeah, just a breakneck speed.
That was what I wanted to say, breakneck.
Constant.
Yeah.
There were parts of... What are your overall thoughts on episode 4?
I liked it. Actually... retrospectively, I have more problems with this than I do when I think about episode 3. There are many problems I have with this. First off, too much of it happened in a 45-minute episode. We needed longer. People make decisions I don't quite understand, including Salt. Her character is just completely flipped. I mean, let's address the obvious alien elephant in the room. We need to talk about the relationship between Salt and Barclay.
We do, yes.
For many reasons.
For lots and lots and lots of reasons.
Yeah.
I am similar to yourself when it comes to episode 4. When it first finished, I thought that was pretty good, but the more I think about it, I'm like, I think it was pretty bad, episode 4. I will outright say I think it was pretty bad.
I mean, the first issue I had...
Real shame.
It is a real shame, especially given it's the penultimate episode. I mean, it raises the stakes. You can't argue with that. It raises the stakes.
Yeah,
it makes the stakes, again, almost inconceivable to fix. And that's going to be your issue as well to recover from. But we'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah, well, that'll be towards the end, I think.
Salt comes up in a shot that I'm not crazy about. She swims up with Barclay. She gives him a kiss, but we can argue at this point it's just saving his life. She's sharing air.
Yeah.
Now, Salt can just swim back down. She doesn't need to get captured.
There is a point of that in the episode where Barclay's trying to defend it. Like, but you need to let me talk to Salt. She had the whole ocean to go and she didn't. I was like, but why didn't she? an act of war has just been committed on her territory, and she does not care. Like, they completely get rid of anything that made her, like, slightly the kind of antagonistic is the word I'm looking for. They just get rid of it in the sake of her almost being this dumbfounded, we can do this, we can do this. It just completely, like, where do you stand on Salt? Like, overall Salt as a character for the first 4 episodes, but especially in episode 4, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you. She loses any sense of agency or purpose in this episode. She's no longer an ambassador by seemingly her own choice. Fair enough, she could soften to Barclay and the humans in general, but she still has a cause, and she was threatening. She was, as you say, she was antagonistic. She was the antagonist, and she just turned, and there's no real reason as to why. If anything, as you've just said, loads of people were just killed by seemingly Barclay could have been in on it. She doesn't know he wasn't in on it at this point.
There is absolutely no mention from her in the episode about the people who just died. Like, it just completely gets, and again, it goes back to my thing with episode 3 not dealing with the consequences of episode 2 enough. This, to me, it shows a quick video of Salt declaring that Earth has done something, and I knew straight away, I was like, well, that's obviously going to be a commentary on deep fakes.
Yeah.
I was like, straight away, oh, that's a deep fake, okay, we're doing that.
But the irony about it is that's how I believe her character would have responded. Maybe not as strong, but
I think the overall issue with Salt is it's similar to Kate and Ibrahim, where the whole purpose of it is for this undercooked, sort of just jammed in, these two need to be together. I just don't buy into their relationship.
It's how can we quickly get them both to the surface and get her captured and him? And so what's the quickest way of doing that? Well, after the explosion, they both just rise to the surface, and then presumably she just... Yeah. I mean, we don't even... Does she get out? Does she help? Do they capture... I mean, I don't even know.
We don't see them grab those two. We see a helicopter show up, and it's Barclay talking to Shirley on the iPad or whatever it is, and he mentions that they have Salt. Salt could have went the whole ocean, but she didn't. I'm like, okay, it would have been nice to see. Like, did Salt put up any sort of aggression to it? Is she all of a sudden in line with the human? I don't get what she was doing.
I suppose if, in a weird way, if you'd have shown her, even if she would have propelled... It sounds like I'm being ridiculous here, but where they come up in the ocean, they were nowhere near the boat, were they? From what I understand, or were they?
I think they just pop up.
Or if she swam him back to the boat and rescued him and put him onto the boat as a hero, and this could have easily been filmed. They had all of that. It would have shown the humans that she has saved him. It doesn't mean that they would immediately trust her. If anything, it would fit the narrative, because then she's done something right. And again, the humans, instead of presuming she's innocent and she's just saved him to save him, they could just take her captive, because that's what they would do.
I think, actually, the one change you need to make, if you don't want to change anything beyond that bit, which for the sake of this, I'll say yes, we're just changing that one bit to show a bit more. You have Barclay be really struggling, and that's the reason she's captured, because she's helping him. Just by staying with him, and that's what results in them being able to capture her. That's all it has to be.
I agree.
It's I think each episode there's been an issue where we've come up with like such a simple fix, and it is so simple.
And there's a writer's room making this, and no one's going in the, Yeah. I almost prefer the idea that all these bits were in originally, and they just cut them for time.
It wouldn't shock me if they were. I've seen some of the deleted scenes of Doctor Who, and I'm like, yeah. Sometimes these things suffer.
It's probably the lapse in logic a lot of the time in this episode that's got me annoyed.
What I think we should do is, maybe, because there is quite a lot going on in this episode, so I think we should focus on Salt and Barclay, and then we can look at all the other wee tangents going on, because there's a scene that I really want to talk about Barclay and Salt. I think you know what scene.
Did they have sex?
Oh, yes, they did have sex.
You think they had sex?
First of all, what a brave man Pete McTeague is writing in. My name is good. You taste of salt. And then he was saying, you taste of, and I thought, don't say it, don't you say it. I thought he was going to say fish. I was like, no. I'm regulating my body for you too, kind of. I'm like, oh, okay, you got an erection.
That was too stupid.
Because I'm like, you're doing the opposite of regulating your body.
There is no sex scene in history, right, that needs, where you can see two people getting steamy. Everyone's inferring you've got an erection. No one's thinking you're floppy during a sex scene. No one's going, I wonder if he's hard. Is he going to be able to do this? They're just presuming.
Because the setup to it is, I thought you'd be cold. I can regulate my body temperature. I'm regulating my body too. It's very
like a
much
Carry On film.
I was literally, it's like cooking. Is it Kenneth and Carry On?
And even the way she looked at him after and went, I can see. Can you? Have you ever seen a human penis before? Do you know what an erect penis looks like? I don't know if you do. Has she got a vagina? Probably.
Here's my issue. Does she turn into a bloke?
I don't, but I could. Okay. My issue is, if you want us to believe this relationship, yes, she looks humanoid to a point, and the actress playing her is very pretty, and so is Salt, I suppose. The character isn't humanoid enough to believe this relationship.
It's really not. Listen, I am all for, loving someone for their personality and Absolutely. Who they are and all the attributes they have, but also physically you need to be attracted to a person. Controversial, I know. And I don't think I could be attracted to a woman with girls on her head.
See, that's my niche, that's my thing. But
imagine what you could do with that.
But I don't know. It got me thinking a lot of the physiology and the biology. And again, just to preface, this conversation, I am incredibly liberal. Do whatever, don't have sex with animals. That's my only line. And we're very, very close to him. I don't see it's a contradiction because I believe the chemistry between the two actors are performing really, really well together. But I have the benefit of knowing this person is in makeup and isn't a real fish. Mm-hmm. But then when I start to think logistically, I have a hard time. Maybe, again, if this was over the course of 2 seasons and we learned more about her anatomy and it felt a bit, maybe I could get on board with it. But again, breakneck speed, not only has she completely abandoned everything about her character and purpose. And again, if that had just kissed and nothing else was implied, I don't think I'd have had such
That's
sort of
all you could have needed, and it would have actually improved it a bit. I just think overall there's this thing where, I would have respected more if instead of designing Salt the way they designed her, where it's, gorgeous woman with prosthetics, if they had went with the Legend of the Sea Devil, the Jodie Whittaker Sea Devil episode, they'd went with that design and still had him get with it, I would have been like, yeah, fair enough. I respect that move.
The thing is, because of the restraints in their budget, it would just be Russell Tovey kissing a latex mask that hasn't got that much room to move, or just an incredible body with the original Sea Devil head. You can see the seams.
So obviously, Andrew's body with an original Sea Devil head. There you go, pal. They got one home.
I bet you wish you were watching this, podcast listeners.
He's got 2 buttons undone.
I have. This isn't how I went to work. I got home and I thought, I'm undoing a button. Fuck it.
Nice.
Okay. Or they could have lessened the design, made her more humanoid. That's how I could take it more, I guess. Or you could have even had her retroactively in the moment, change her appearance a little bit, just draw it back.
See, the good thing about both of those is they are good ideas for that very specific moment of the show.
Yeah.
But overall, if you have her change her appearance to suit Barkley, it goes even more against everything she's been in the show, where suddenly she's sacrificing who she is for the entertainment of this land dweller. And the other one where if you made her more human, you lose the aspect of being able to see her and go, that's clearly not Earth. I
agree.
So it impacts her.
And I suppose it goes against the message that I can bet this is some
love
sort of it is some sort of, there is some sort of agenda here from your mate, RT.
But I just cannot get past the fact that Salt is completely ruined in this episode, I think. Just everything that she was is abandoned. And I'm not saying she had this absolutely magnum opus idea of a character that was completely ruined. She was serving a purpose, but that purpose has been completely gone now. And at this point, there was a point last night where she's like, we could go to the waterfall. I could be the witch of the waterfall. And she's running about. And my instant thought was, in a year from now, Barclay's going to be tired of this and she's going to be that crazy girlfriend he can't get away from.
She just under the waterfall.
Yeah. You could live in the waterfall with me.
I
hated that whole relationship.
I didn't like a lot of the dialogue, and when she was talking, you're born of land, and then she just went off loads of emotions, land and darkness and hatred. I just thought, what are we doing, man?
And I hated, this is the end of the episode, I hated the last line of the episode. You will not swim alone! You will not swim alone, Salt! I was like, what is this? What is up? Like, you will not swim alone? Really? I mean,
the most interesting aspect of that, I mean, we're going to move on to the, we'll cap off the whole Bartley and Salt thing, and then we'll move on to the B plot, which is arguably more interesting in this episode. I knew that it was going to go that way in some facet or some way. And it's just a walking contradiction. My mind's all over the place with these two episodes. I wanted it to go that way, and I'm all for the message and what it's trying to convey. It's just the practicality of it, for whatever reason, didn't sit with me as I imagine the makers wanted it to. It just left me not just questioning the physics, the physical side of it, but it left me questioning, even if I believe them two getting together and falling in love, it doesn't take away from, as you've said, all of the character traits that we know of Salt up until this point. It shouldn't take away from the grief she should be feeling. She should have been second guessing Bartley a little bit, I think.
I think so.
Were you involved? Did you know it was going to happen? And
almost should have been, when they're in that warehouse, instead of her walking in, smashing glasses and being all giggly and like, oh, it's land.
Yeah, did you know?
She should have not wanted to go near him.
Yeah.
It should have been this reluctant alliance.
Yeah, how do I know? How do I know I can trust you? I'm completely alone, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relationship I'm really, really impressed they went there. I just thought, whatever.
My thing is, I thought, when I initially seen like the first trailer for it, I thought, yeah, something's going to happen between those two. Because they've made her very to be able to emote and stuff. I was like, yeah, something's going to happen. And I don't think you are being contradictory by saying you wanted it to happen. I think you just don't like the execution of it. Which I think is so... because it could have been executed reasonably well. But it's the problem with this show where you throw so many people in, is that I don't think any characters developed enough to suddenly be in love with each other.
Yeah. It was executed really well. I'll tell you when it was executed well. It's happened in this series already. Episode 3. I can feel your heartbeat. She touches his chest. He touches her face. That was great.
Yeah, that's a wee moment.
Yeah.
But then suddenly you're jumping to these two, like, they're ride or die for each other. That's the bit I don't believe. I don't believe this, like, the love of it all. Like, I think there could be an attraction there and there could be, like, a respect. But it's just jumping. It's the same with Kate and Abraham. It's the things I really don't like about this show. They are basically the same thing, just done twice.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame, because I've seen other shows that have developed relationships quite quickly. And they hit a lot better. I'd say Russell T Davies, back in his first era of Doctor Who, wrote relationships that hit a lot better.
No complaints.
Than what we get now.
Yep. Okay, well that's the fish sex out of the way. You'll be glad to hear. If you do want
taste
like fish, and that seems like a very lewd comment said by a lot of horrible men on the internet. But in this case, I'm just stating the obvious.
In theory, be true.
It could, and no disrespect, she could be the most hygienic sea devil in the world, but she lives in salt water. Okay, no, before we move on, logic be damned as well. All of a sudden, there are no qualms living on Earth, dotting about. She's been out of water for an awful long time. If you're going to establish a set of rules or imply that someone can or can't do something, I need to understand what those rules are. You can't just be cavalier with it.
Yeah, why, you know what? I'll agree with that. But that goes back to the whole bastardization of her character, where suddenly she doesn't have an issue with humanity. It's almost like she would rather kill her own people now, if it means helping Barclay.
Yeah, and I also...
I don't think she cares about humanity. I think it is just him.
The more I look at her costume as well, I think it looks relatively cheap now. I don't like the cloth skirt. I don't know.
It's a weird one. It's one of those cases again where, because they've obviously just designed this one outfit for this character to fit with the costume and stuff. It's like, do you ever get tired of seeing characters just always in the same outfit? And you're like, oh, would you mix it up a bit? You're not a cartoon.
Nah, you could even argue if she's just walking about on Earth and fucking men.
I know that's a real ghost. Like, that sex was fucking good.
He was still wearing his jumper, so I can't conclusively say they had sex. That was what I was waiting for when we panned back to them with the lying down. He was still clothed.
Yeah, I did notice the jumper, and I did think, oh, so it's just my stuff.
But what I was going to say, if they're trying to keep undercover and low key, why haven't they done what every other film does in the world and have her in a hooded sweatshirt and a cap? I'd like that.
Yeah, you know what? Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
But that is Salt and Barkley. I think we both weren't the biggest fan of that relationship, that just the way it was executed and overall. So what else was going on in episode 4?
So we had,
because
you've got it.
Bastardization of Salt is what ruined it for me. But if whatever else happened, maybe I liked.
Yeah, you can, jump in if you feel like I'm describing it poorly, but we have this ongoing coup, don't we? So it come out, from what I understand, it's implied, or at least the army general and the French ambassador, whatever you want to call her, she's a general of some sort as well. Let's say NATO, this little gathering between them and the Prime Minister. They essentially say that they're not responsible for the explosion, but instead it was the English Prime Minister's affiliate who was looking out for his own business interests. Was that essentially it?
Yeah, his biggest donor.
Yeah, and now the Prime Minister is concerned because he doesn't want it to look like he attempted to kill anyone or set off this bomb, and he kind of wants the American government, with the help of the British Army, to cover up what's going on, and they also want to capture Salt, because it would benefit them in their war, because they could study her and try and find the weaknesses of the Sea Devils. And it's strongly implied that the Prime Minister is two sides of the same coin, and he's gonna at some point have to choose between, I was gonna say shield, unit, or the other hands of governments. Was that essentially?
And his wife's got cancer.
Has she? I see.
Just kind of throwing in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we didn't really talk about, we mentioned it briefly for episode 3. This subplot of the conniving businesses and officials. What are your thoughts on all that? Because it feels to me like a lot of talking.
Yeah, I don't think we need it. It was convoluted, is how I would describe most of it, especially in episode 4. Just have it be the American government or have it be the French government. We don't need it to be a private company. Just have it be someone from, I don't know, just make it a bit clearer.
Like, I know the exact reason it exists is purely so that we can kind of go, it's not all of humanity who are bastards. We just have this section of them who are evil in the shadows working. And I'm like, it just feels so like the Prime Minister seems to be inept. I was sitting trying to figure out when this would have been written. I feel like this would have been written before Keir Starmer took over. So Rishi Sunak was Prime Minister. I'm like, trying to figure out which Prime Minister this would be loosely based on.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I'm like, I feel like it's just a general kind of caricature of what
government.
People think of the British government.
I don't even think it's a party. It's just the government. I also think maybe the choice to have it be a private company with a lot of influence. I don't know. I was drawing parallels between the like of Trump and Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. Like yeah, maybe some of that. They're also kind of making. Yeah, and there's this big thing about the US kind of really encroaching, and they're in charge of the English army, so they're kind of painted as these antagonists as well. I don't know. I just think we've got, again, it all comes down to the fact we've got 5 episodes with inconsistent pacing. We're juggling a lot of storylines.
Mm-hmm. And
I think it needed to be reined in a bit and stripped back. Even though I'd say in the third act, I loved it. In fact, the way Kate has been pushed to her very limits, and she's using all of her power to sort of say to unit, shoot the British soldiers. I think.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That was probably the most interesting aspect to that, and I like the fact we got these 2 opposing forces and our 2 main characters are caught in the middle. I mean, we knew they were getting away with it. I don't know why Salt didn't just go with Bartley to S.H.I.E.L.D. Jesus, fucking Doctor Who, your big tower. She would have been She would have been safe with Unit. She didn't need to.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing. I just thought this episode was just, in retrospect, thinking about it, I just think it was a mess. Because quite frankly, the whole time I'm sitting thinking, well, obviously they're not going to have Kate be like, oh, we need to kill this woman. So at some point she's going to be like, oh no, we'll turn in favor of Barclay again. Which I feel like they kind of did before. What did they do before whenever he was first made ambassador? She meets him in the car and goes, you're all good, pal. And that's my Kate Lethbridge Stewart impression.
That's not as good as your Colonel Pierce.
You've made heroes.
You've made Kate sound like a middle-aged.
Me?
Yeah. Well, no, but but just a heavy smoker.
So me 5 years ago.
Aye, you 5 years ago, me mucker.
What was a hate crime? Anyway, so I just, it's really hard for me for episode 4 to put it into words because I feel like everything is just so, it's all just rushing about. You're cutting to this, you keep cutting to Kate sad because Ibrahim's dead, and Shirley's going, we all knew. I'm like, okay, fair enough. We already knew that you all knew, like the audience knew that. I'm surprised Kate didn't know. It makes her seem really stupid. She's like, I thought nobody knew.
Yeah, and why the fuck does it matter anyway? You're a subordinate. Yeah, you'd probably have to fill out some paperwork with HR, but as long as you don't abuse your power in the relationship, it's all gravy, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing that annoyed
Andrew Fripp, advocacy for love.
It's all gravy, baby. Andrew Fripp. I don't know why I just said my name after that. What am I selling? Yeah. I think in terms of this episode, Jesus, I've really lost my train of thought. Yeah, it was
like the episode?
Yeah, well, I think, okay, that I remember. This episode felt like me when I studied performing arts and we'd do acting workshops or we'd write a play and we'd have to come up with a scene and we'd all just throw ideas at each other and go, oh, that'd be great. And then we'd do that without thinking about how we got from point A to point B because we just liked the idea. So I can imagine them going... Huh?
It's uni, it's our degree of a lot of groups going, what about this, and having to go, everybody calm down.
Take it easy. Things need to make sense and you need to think about, the logistics. And I think it feels like in the writer's room they went, oh, and then Bartley and Salt could be lovers and I could be on the run.
Yeah.
And then they've just made that happen so quickly without any real groundwork, but I think, I don't know, and then, like you said, there's just a hell of a lot going on, and I don't think it's focused enough on any one thing.
Yeah, there's a concept in this episode that I thought was a great concept, and I thought, that's good. Focus on that, please. And that is whenever the new ambassador for the Homo Aqua comes up, and his name is Tide. Well, again, it's one of those cases of, you can't pronounce my name, so call me Tide. Very menacing.
My name rides on the waves of the sea and the waves of the sea.
I'd love if he had that voice. Oh, brilliant. So Tide comes up and he's talking, he's doing the whole, I'm so evil. Yes, we want to kill Salt now. So suddenly, does that justify Salt not caring? Maybe. So, we have the ultimate weapon, Rust. And he turns his little cane to rust and it turns into dust. And I thought, that's a cool concept. Turning every bit of dampness, moisture in the air, using that. Fantastic concept. Similar to the plastic apocalypse being a great idea of chucking everything out. This isn't even, it's a great way to up the stakes for the world. But I guarantee they're not going to use it enough. Also, don't introduce this ambassador all of a sudden. He should have been there in the past few episodes.
Yeah, even just there, at the time of... Imagine if he was there during the explosion and, he's been damaged a little bit or he's... I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you.
He should have just been in the background of the ambassadors coming to Earth.
And he was such maniacal and evil, wasn't he? You will bring her to me and you will do this.
You will bring her to me and rename the Earth to Dry. He wasn't... I've seen people confused online. He's not saying call the Earth, change the planet's name to Dry.
No, he's just saying
the name Earth is too much of a dry word.
Yeah,
I have seen people online be like, why did you change it to Dry? Yeah, thought they were saying change it to.
Okay, I'm going to look at camera. For those people who are too stupid to understand the context of that line or how it was read or written or acted, you're an idiot, okay? And if we're alienating anyone listening, I don't care.
But Andrew, change the name of the planet Earth too dry.
Oh, you want me to change the name of planet Earth to Dry? No problem.
No, right, come here. We'll sit down. Where's my staff? It's got a pen. Oh, I rusted it.
No, he wants to change it to Dry, which makes no sense because he comes from the water. Yeah, we're in the middle. We're doing it now.
It's done.
Yeah.
Should we change the name Terra?
I don't get it.
There's another.
Okay. Terra Nova. Is that right?
Terra Prime.
Amazon Prime. Optimus Prime. I'm so sorry.
They have some good shows. No, back to The War Between the Land and the Sea, episode 4. Witch at the Waterfall, is that what it's called?
Yes.
The Waterfall Witch or something like that. Yeah, I was thinking about this episode quite a lot today. I was actually, at one point in work, I realized, oh god, I'm really distracted. I didn't listen to a word anyone just said. And then, I did not like episode 4, and I think, how does it end again? She jumps off the bridge. Again, it ends with her getting away. Essentially, we're at the same place as episode 3.
Yeah, essentially.
Pretty much. Oh! And that reminds me, they're on that bridge, and just to go back to my point about the plastic apocalypse having no impact, just a couple of bags at the side of the bridge. And she can drive her car the whole way there. Yeah. Like, she's not there going, would somebody move us, Robert?
And I do love, just touching on the plastic apocalypse again, the lines where it was like, well, it might take another couple of weeks to clear it all up. You're not going to be able to drive anywhere. Because it's like...
I don't know. Where were they? What was clear up? Like, where are they putting all that?
I don't know. I love. They should have just had a shot of just people just throwing it back in the sea. Just a dump truck.
Second that, I was like,
just a dump truck unloading loads of like shit into the ocean. Yeah. Also, side note: when he was in the truck, I knew he was going to reverse and let her. I don't know how she can suddenly just push the door open because it's underwater. It's locked, presumably, so she can't get out.
Yeah, literally, because he goes back and the chain breaks and it falls in. I'm thinking, you're telling me Unit doesn't have some magic metal that doesn't break? They don't have their own version of like vibranium.
And then again, treating the audience like idiots. Who said I was going forward? We don't need to know.
Unit didn't surround that bastard.
Yeah,
they weren't all around him.
You could have drove forward. That would have moved. That wouldn't have shot him. If anything, I'd have preferred if he drove forward and there was a bit of a chase.
Yeah, a bit of a to-do.
Yeah.
I did have one issue with dialogue during that scene. And I quite like the scene overall when he's chatting to his mate, who's like, I used to sign off and stuff, and they're having a bit of banter. It wasn't the best, but what annoyed me was they kept ending their statements with, mate, I haven't seen you in a while, mate. Mate, I've been hired to do this, mate.
Do you think they should have thrown in a couple pals?
Couple pals, couple bros, couple darlings, couple anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, I
haven't seen you in a bit.
The purpose of that dialogue obviously was to just show how far maybe Bartley would have been more inclined to just agree and go along with the conversation, but obviously he's been changed from what he's learned. Or at his core. I don't think
that's right, mate. I don't think that's right.
Well, actually, you're not meant to say that anymore because it's offensive. You're not meant to say it anymore.
How did you feel about Russell Tovey's accent this week? Because I know last week that was a wee small criticism you had where you thought at points it could be.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that offended. I think the biggest thing I was offended with this week was just not as much him. The writing was hokey in places, especially between the two of them. And the writing, I think, throughout has been relatively inconsistent. And I mean inconsistent to the point that some monologues and some conversations are fantastic, and then some of them end with, it's too dry. Because I hated that line.
It's too dry.
It's just these, again, I'm so confused because I enjoyed these 2 episodes more than the first 2 in a way because more happened. But then when you stop and think about what had happened and why it happened and the reasons behind all of it, I start to dislike it more because we're just getting spectacle and everything's just happening for no real narrative purpose other than to just have it happen.
Yeah, because stuff has to happen. They need to keep upping the stakes because, that's what you do in drama. You have to up the stakes. Don't up the personal stakes. Just up that the world might be in danger. And it's like, well, obviously this is not going to end with the world being rusted. Obviously there's going to be some rushed conclusion, which brings me on nicely to next week is the finale of The Land and the Sea, titled The End of the War. What are they doing in that fight? I think it's only 45 minutes.
Well, first off, there hasn't been a war. This is like the Age of Ultron all over again.
People keep saying it's a war. It's more of a Cold War.
Yeah.
But then again, people are doing stuff.
There's far too many trade talks. I get the Star Wars prequels vibes every now and then. I'm like, we're just talking, we can't close the shipping lanes because the economy is already in tatters.
Which was, I think, would have been really interesting. Like, I would have happily taken one of these episodes just being an hour long, of 45 minutes long, of them just in the ambassador's room with Barclay and then other people getting involved. That could have been done really well, really.
Or even seeing, because if you had a longer time, you could start to see food shortages, power outages, the lot.
You could indeed, and I have no idea what the time frame of this show is, because I don't know how. Like that's my main issue with the pacing of episode 3. I don't know how long that sort of getting ready to go is.
It all just happens on a bank holiday. It's just all one big bank holiday Monday.
It feels that way. It genuinely, because I'm like, but the Sea Devils would not wait weeks or months for them to train and get ready for this. So are they just doing like a quick sort of, do you know when you have to, in work, you have to do training videos, but nobody ever watches them all? As long as you just swipe to the end. Is that what they were doing?
It's what I do every time I do a training video.
If anyone from work is listening, I don't do that. I'm very good and I pay attention to all my training.
Yeah. Wink. I don't just keep another tab open and ask Google every now and then if I need the answer. Yeah, I don't know. They've wrote themselves into a bit of a bind and in an impossible scenario. And I'd love to be sat with you talking about the finale and go, fucking hell, that was satisfying and showed the gravity of the situation. And somehow everything's wrapped up, because to me, this felt like a mid-season finale.
This felt like mid-season finale. It felt like, at the very least, next week's, if they're doing one episode, it should be minimum an hour long. I don't think it is, but there should be at least 6 episodes. This is nowhere near as, because when it was announced it was only 5 episodes, I thought Children of Earth was only 5 episodes, and that's perfection. This is nowhere near the heights of that show, which again is this big world thing. Sorry, cut that out in the edit. Again, Children of Earth is this big world thing where aliens are down, they want the kids, and humanity don't really understand. This time, I feel like there should be a lot more. Like, there's been no sign of any civil unrest in this show. There's been no mention of civil unrest. Guarantee if this happened, there would be riots in the street.
You could argue that it is happening. We just haven't seen it. But, then
it's not happening. If they don't tell us or show us, it's not happening.
You do keep going back to Barclay's family, and that everything just looks normal. His daughter's darting about on a tablet, and everything's, they're setting up stakes, and then they're not really, and I suppose that's what you've said, the plastic apocalypse was meant to be this grand thing, and it's just turned into just a bit of a clean-up. There's 4 or 5 people out there in high vis just picking up plastic and popping it.
And the first episode and even episode 2 had like big montages of news channels like saying this is happening to keep us up to date, the audience. I would love something where it's like the confirmed dead of the plastic apocalypse has risen to such and such. People died in that, definitely. Also, side note, I quite like the idea that there was like a fish who'd made a home in like a boot or something, and it was just going, what the fuck, bruv?
Just a news report. Supermarkets have stopped charging for bags given the fact we've got a surplus. I don't know. Just,
Fee for a carrier bag.
I'll have a paper one, thank you. They biodegrade. Haven't you been watching the news? What's going on with the Homo Aqua?
I just imagine the guy who absolutely loves tuna is sitting going, really sad. I can't get it now, morally.
You should have had a shot of like somebody eating a tuna sandwich during one of the earlier episodes and just get side-eyed by one of the ambassadors.
Well, we do have that joke of your man ordered the salmon.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'll have the fish.
Oh, and also, Barclay's family, I don't care about them.
Yeah.
I'm done caring about them. I cared about them in episode 1 and 2. I don't now.
I think it's a shame.
Even Barclay, I don't like him anymore as much.
Yeah. I think I like everybody a little less now. Universally.
I do as well. To be honest, it's been grating on me.
Yeah, well, maybe we should just... I'm going to put my telly in after this. I'm going to put my telly in. That's what I'm going to do. Just because, mate. I think put my I don't know, do it in, like just break it. I don't know. I'm just rambling, mate.
I thought you meant put it in the ocean.
Yeah, fuck him. I think what's happened is we left the episode at the end of first review. we were left with what's next, and we had enough time and space with the stakes where they were to resolve the issue and wind it down. Instead, we've got more and more ideas introduced that, whilst in theory sound great, have ramped up the stakes to a point where, in my mind right now, there is no conceivable way it can be dealt with, every plot thread, in a satisfying way with one 45-minute episode. And that fills me with, I'm still excited to see it, but it also fills me with a little bit of anxiety, because I was 75% sure it'd stick the landing after last week's review. Now I'm closer to 45, 50.
I do not think it will stick the landing, because one of the biggest problems with this show is that it's part of a larger universe. It has to continue on after it. This won't get mentioned probably, maybe like briefly in something. But also, you're then dealing with the fact, like, if this had been aliens who came to Earth and said, we used to own this planet, we want it back, you could do the same kind of story, but instead they pick something that is on Earth.
Yeah, I also think that the Homo Aqua seems so overpowered now with this whole Rust aspect and what they did in episode 2, that I kind of don't buy them as antagonists, because if they want the Earth back, to my knowledge right now, they could just take it. They're not afraid of the humans. There's no just cause for them to be afraid of the humans. They appear to have the upper hand, so why not just take it? So I have mixed feelings, but I'm still looking forward to it. And I would say episode 3 was a slight dip in quality, and episode 4 left me frustrated more than it did entertained. That's my opinion on both of them, if I could round it up. What about you?
Yeah, I completely agree. First week really enjoyed. This week left feeling disappointed, a bit deflated about the whole show. Not that excited for the final episode.
But fingers crossed, come Sunday, we are eating humble pie, and we can say that. So. We can say the complete opposite, because I don't want it to be a bad show. Yeah, maybe the last episode can pay off. Go on.
There is just one thing, Andrew. Someone did just send me a message there about the name of our YouTube channel, of what we've been watching. Change the name to Dry.
Okay, I mean, it doesn't make much sense, but we'll change the name to Dry, because that's what they're asking us to do.
I'll tell you what wasn't too dry. Salt, when she was near Barkley. But lead pencil.
That is gross. That is gross. But just to reiterate, somebody had sex with a fish creature in this show. And,
yes, yeah.
We think
he tasted of salt.
And she tasted.
He never finished.
No, he didn't finish. Possibly. I like tuna. Slap a bit of mayonnaise on salt and I'd chow down.
Potted herring.
Ooh, I've had herring.
I've smelt it.
Okay, I think that's where we'll leave it off. Thank you for watching our review of 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Just watching our episode 3 and 4 review of The War Between the Land and Sea. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, why not consider subscribing to our channel, because we would love you to stick around and see what else we have to offer. Do you have a Torchwood video coming up soon?
We do have a Torchwood video that we'll be releasing this week. It's about Children of Earth specifically, and I have a lot of various Doctor Who universe videos planned for the future.
Yeah. We're going to get into it. So if you like Doctor Who, we've got an aficionado on this channel who's going to tell you all about it, and I'm going to chime in with my thoughts, although probably a little uneducated. Thank you for watching. I've been Andrew.
Thank you. I've been Nathaniel. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.